welcome to Beacon English Podcast. Phrasal verbs. If you're learning English, you know exactly what we are talking about. It's those combinations, right? A simple verb plus a preposition or an adverb that just suddenly it throws out the original meaning.
It establishes something completely new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're essential, they can be frustrating, but they are, the undeniable building blocks of natural everyday speech.
For sure.
So today, we've gathered a really comprehensive set of core phrasal verbs. And we're not just going to list definitions.
No.
We're going to unpack the grammar and the context that really makes them tick.
That's absolutely right. And this deep dive, it's really designed to give you the ultimate shortcut.
The shortcut, yeah.
Because for many people, phrasal verbs feel like this huge barrier, something you just have to memorize blindly.
Right, just rote memorization.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So our mission is to move past that. We want to reveal the key structural, nuggets of insight. We want to show you why they're necessary and how you can start to predict their usage. And once you start recognizing them and really actively using them,
You'll hear them everywhere.
you will hear them literally everywhere.
Okay, so let's establish the foundational concept here. The core challenge, I think, is that we're taking two very common, very simple words and creating this highly specific, sometimes complex meaning. So we need to start with the simplest, most fundamental examples that demonstrate this whole mechanism perfectly.
And we should begin with probably the most ubiquitous example in any daily routine.
Which is,
Wake up.
of course.
The verb wake just means to emerge from sleep. But when you add the particle up, it sort of completes the action.
Right.
It defines the moment you stop sleeping and you become aware. It's a transition, and it is absolutely super common.
And if you just say, I wake at 7, it sounds a little incomplete or maybe too formal.
It does. It sounds a bit strange in a casual context.
And the utility of that particle, up, it's so crucial. It's not just an extra word. It's giving the direction, or like you said, the completion of the action.
Precisely.
You can't really talk about your morning without it. I also noticed that native speakers often pair this with its sequential partner.
Right.
So what naturally follows, wake up.
The perfect natural pairing is get up.
Right.
After you wake up, so you gain consciousness, you then typically get up, you rise from a lying or sitting position.
So the two verbs together describe the full sequence of starting your day.
Exactly. You could, formally say, I rose from my bed, but in a relaxed conversation, that just sounds so strange.
It sounds like you're in a historical novel or something.
Right. You just say, I got up. And this really shows that phrasal verbs aren't just alternatives. They are the standard way to express these common actions.
This tells us these combinations aren't optional. They're not secondary vocabulary. They're basically the required standard if you want to sound natural.
Yeah.
So now that we've established the beginning of the day, let's move into our first major category, phrasal verbs for daily life and home essentials. And this is where we'll start to introduce some of those crucial grammar rules.
Sounds good. This first set, it really covers the essential actions that structure your day, starting with, technology and lights.
Okay, so let's talk about the basic operations. Turn on and turn off. These are just indispensable, whether we're talking about lights, the TV, a computer, a car.
Anything with a switch, basically.
Use turn because, I guess, originally we were turning a knob or a switch. But why do we have to use the particle, on or off? Why can't I just say start the light?
Well, start the light sounds a little strange.
It does.
It's not very natural.
Yeah.
So we use turn on to activate a device and turn off to stop it. The particle on signifies activation or connection.
And off is the opposite, deactivation.
Exactly, disconnection. And the nugget of insight here, which is so critical for learners, relates to something called separability.
Ah, separability. Okay, this is a huge grammatical concept. Explain what that means for a verb like turn on.
Okay, so turn on is what we call a transitive phrasal verb. It takes an object, right? The TV, the light, the radio.
Right.
Because of that, the particle on is separable. This means you have a choice.
Okay, so what's the choice?
You can say, please turn on the light, or, and this is the important part, you can insert the object between the verb and the particle.
Please turn the light on.
Exactly. Both are 100% correct and sound completely natural.
There's a massive exception to that rule that causes a lot of trouble for learners, right?
Right.
When does the particle have to separate from the verb?
Yes, this is probably the most important structural rule for these separable phrasal verbs.
Okay.
If you replace the object, the light, with a pronoun like it, them, or him, the particle must separate.
So you have to say, please turn it on.
You must. You can never, ever say, please turn on it.
Oof, yeah. That sounds completely wrong to a native ear.
It really does. So mastering that distinction, knowing that objects are flexible but pronouns are rigid, that is a giant leap toward fluency.
That one structural rule alone justifies this entire deep dive, I think. It moves us past just knowing the definition to actually using it correctly.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's explore how a tiny, tiny change in that particle can completely transform the verb's meaning. We've got a great pair that shifts from searching to responsibility.
Yes. Look for versus look after.
So with look for, the meaning is pretty clear. To search for something, to try to find something. I'm looking for my keys.
Right. The preposition for implies a goal that you don't currently have. It's pure searching.
A simple utility.
But now, when we swap for to after, look after, the entire function of the verb just flips.
The action shifts from active seeking to what? Guardianship.
That's a great way to put it. Passive guardianship. Look after means to take care of or supervise someone or something.
And the object of the verb changes dramatically, too. You look for something inanimate, like keys or a phone, but you usually look after something living.
Or valuable. A person, a pet, your house, your plants.
Right.
It immediately introduces a sense of responsibility and kindness. You might say, I'm going to look after my little brother this weekend.
Or, can you look after my plants while I'm on vacation?
Precisely. The particle after in this context suggests you're kind of watching over them, following after them to make sure they're okay. It's a complete linguistic transformation based on one tiny word.
That is a fantastic demonstration of why you have to learn these phrasal verbs as single fixed units. You can't just guess the meaning from the verb look. The particle defines everything.
Got it. Now let's transition from searching and caring to tidiness and removal. Things we all have to do to maintain our environment.
Okay, first up we have cleanup. This feels like a very general action of making a place tidy.
It is. Cleanup covers a really wide scope. It's not just wiping a counter. It's organizing, putting things away, sweeping, basically returning a space to order after a mess.
So you can use it generally, like, I need to clean up the kitchen.
Right. Or you can be specific. Who's going to clean up this mess on the floor? It implies effort and restoring order.
And it is also a separable verb, isn't it? You can tell your kids, you need to clean your toys up.
Exactly. Please clean up your toys. Or please clean your toys up. Both work.
And if we use a pronoun for toys, like them,
then you have to separate it. Please clean them up. That consistency is really key.
And what about when things are really finished? When we need to dispose of them? We have two options here that are basically interchangeable.
We do. Throw away and throw out.
Both used constantly.
Every single day. And they mean exactly the same thing. To discard trash or old unneeded items.
So you can choose either one.
Yep. It's just personal preference or maybe a regional thing. I need to throw away these old newspapers, or let's throw out those leftovers.
Why do you think English keeps both options, away and out, when they convey the same idea of disposal?
That's a good question. Linguistically, you could argue away emphasizes distance removing it from yourself, and out emphasizes exiting a container, like a house or a bin.
But for all practical purposes.
For all practical purposes, they fossilize into perfect synonyms. The important thing for you is to know they're simple, they're common, and they're both separable.
So you can throw the trash out or throw the trash away.
And you must throw it out or throw it away.
That wraps up our home essentials. We've seen phrasal verbs dictate everything from waking up and operating a light to taking out the trash.
Yeah.
They really are the linguistic skeleton of daily life.
And we've also introduced that crucial rule of separability. Just remember, objects can move, but pronouns are fixed in the middle. Keep that in mind as we move forward.
All right, our next focus shifts outward to how we interact with people. Social dynamics, communication, visits, travel. Let's start with the exciting world of spontaneous interactions.
Okay. The feeling of surprise and pure chance is captured perfectly by run into.
Run into. This means meeting someone completely unexpectedly, right?
Completely. The unexpected element is what makes it different from a planned meeting.
The word run usually implies speed, but here it's more like a social collision.
A gentle one, hopefully. It's almost always used when you're telling a story about something that happened.
Like, you'll never guess who I ran into at the supermarket.
Exactly. I was just at the coffee shop and I ran into an old friend from college. It often implies a nice surprise, and it adds so much more flavor than just saying, I met someone.
Okay, now what if the visit is unplanned, but it's encouraged? We're talking about informal invitations.
Then you invite someone to drop by. This means a casual, quick, unplanned visit, usually at someone's home or office.
It sounds very friendly.
It is. It's incredibly welcoming because it suggests the host is ready for guests without any formality. We use it all the time in invitations. If you're ever in the neighborhood, feel free to drop by anytime.
It signals a very low-commitment, easygoing friendship.
For sure.
So if drop by is casual and spontaneous, let's contrast that with something a little more structured, though still brief. Call on.
Call on means to visit someone briefly, but often it's out of respect or maybe even duty.
Oh, interesting, like visiting a relative.
Exactly, or a respected figure. I need to call on my grandmother this weekend to see how she's doing. It's less formal than, say, a dinner party, but it has a more traditional or obligatory feel than drop by.
Got it. Okay, moving from physical visits to digital ones, the world of phone logistics.
Right.
We have two absolute necessities for modern life, starting with what happens when you're busy and can't talk.
Call back.
So critical.
It means to return a missed call or to contact someone again later. And because we're all busy or in meetings or screening calls, this phrase is probably used millions of times a day.
Yeah. I was in a meeting. I'll call you back in 5 minutes.
Or, I missed a call from this number. Can you ask them to call me back? It's just incredibly practical and efficient.
And when the conversation is finally over, we end it with,
Hang up.
which means finishing a phone call.
It does, and this phrase is such a wonderful example of what we call linguistic fossilization.
Because you used to literally hang the physical receiver up on a hook.
Exactly. Even though our modern phones don't have that hardware, the phrasal verb persists. It's simple, direct, and everyone understands it means the call is over.
That continuity is fascinating. Language holds on to history even when technology moves on.
It really is. It's why you can't always rationalize the meaning based on the modern world.
All right, finally in this section, let's look at starting a journey and dealing with the inevitable obstacles that come with it.
Okay. So to start a journey or an expedition, we use set off.
Sack off.
It signifies the beginning of a trip, and it often implies some preparation and intentionality.
Like, we need to set off before dawn if we want to avoid traffic. It's the verb of departure.
A great way to put it.
And often, travel involves things that, well, that prevent us from setting off easily. Which brings us to the opposite of an easy start.
Hold up.
Right. To be delayed.
Hold up means to delay someone or something. And this happens constantly in real life, especially with traffic or bureaucracy.
The most common use is definitely with traffic. Sorry, I'm late. There was an accident on the highway and it held me up.
Yep. It implies an obstruction or an interruption to your plan.
This verb is also often used reflexively, isn't it? You can ask, did I hold you up?
Exactly, meaning, did I cause you a delay? It measures the impact of one person's actions on another's schedule. And it is a separable phrasal verb.
So you can hold the meeting up.
And if the meeting is it, you must say, hold it up.
What's so clear from this whole section on social and travel is how much precision these two-word verbs give us. We don't just meet people, we run into them.
We don't just start a trip, we set off.
That specificity is really key to mastering a natural cadence in English.
It is. It allows you to communicate all that nuance, the surprise, the effort, the delay in a single economical phrase. And that economy of language is what fluency sounds like.
We are now moving into verbs related to internal effort, moral choices, and the section that, I think, requires the most mental agility from the learner.
Ah, yes.
Phrasal verbs with multiple, distinct, and sometimes contradictory definitions.
The tricky ones.
Let's start with the important concept of stopping something. Give up.
Give up is so crucial because it speaks directly to motivation, habits, endurance. It can carry a really heavy emotional weight.
And it has two primary applications, both about stopping something.
Right. The first one is stopping a negative habit.
For instance, someone trying to improve their health.
Exactly. My doctor told me I need to give up eating so much sugar. It's that conscious choice to stop doing something that's detrimental.
And the second application, this may be the one that resonates most in motivational terms. It's about stopping effort entirely.
Yes. It means to cease trying to achieve a goal, which is why it leads to that really powerful, encouraging message you see everywhere.
Never give up.
Never give up. It emphasizes the importance of perseverance when you're facing obstacles. It's an essential phrase for talking about personal growth and struggle.
So when you're not giving up, you are continuing. And we have two key verbs for that. We need to clarify the subtle difference between them.
Yes. Carry on and keep on.
Okay, let's start with carry on.
Carry on means to continue doing something. It's the simpler of the two, I think. The teacher asked the students to carry on with their work.
It's a straightforward instruction to resume or just persist in an activity.
Yes. It might have been interrupted, but now you just continue.
Keep on, however. This one often carries that heavier weight of difficulty or repetitive persistence, a bit like the opposite of give up.
It does. While it also means to continue, keep on specifically highlights perseverance, often in spite of some annoyance or difficulty.
Okay, give me an example.
If someone is complaining over and over, you might say, she keeps on talking about the same problem. Or if you have a challenging task, you just have to keep on trying, even when it gets tough.
So it implies maintaining momentum against some kind of resistance.
That's a perfect way to put it.
That nuanced, simple resumption versus enduring persistence is vital. If I'm just waiting for a phone call to end, I carry on working. But if I'm fighting to finish a difficult project every single day, I keep on working.
That is the perfect distinction. It captures that emotional effort that's often required by keep on.
Okay, let's quickly touch on a more friendly external action. Giveaway.
This one's usually a positive, charitable action.
Right.
It just means giving something to someone for free, usually as a gift or a donation. The store decided to give away free T-shirts to the first 100 customers.
Or we gave away all our old books before we moved. It's just transferring ownership without expecting any payment.
Exactly.
All right, before we jump into our next section, which is a really fascinating one, let's just take a moment here. The discussion so far has focused on some pretty clear, singular meanings.
Mostly one-to-one.
But now we're about to enter a phase that requires you, the listener, to rely almost entirely on context. We're talking about the tricky verbs with dual or even triple meanings.
And this is a huge aha moment for fluency. Let's start with one of the most confusing, makeup.
Makeup. This verb perfectly demonstrates how English complexity is actually, in a way, rooted in efficiency. The meanings are just wildly different.
They are.
Let's start with the meaning related to creation or fiction.
Okay, so meaning, number one, is to invent or fabricate something. This is often used negatively, like to invent a lie or an excuse.
He was late for work, so he made up a story about his car breaking down.
Right, but it can also be used creatively. She loved to make up new songs on her guitar. It's the act of creation, either from imagination or necessity.
But then, meaning two is about repairing something completely non-physical.
A relationship.
Yeah.
Meaning two is to reconcile after an argument or a disagreement. They had a big fight last night that they made up this morning. They restored harmony.
And just when you think you've got it, there's a third, common, entirely different meaning. This one's related to composition.
Absolutely. Meaning three is to constitute or form a total. Women make up 60% of the workforce in this company.
Or, this team is made up of 4 programmers and 2 designers. It's about the parts that form a whole.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, so in one phrase, we have invention, reconciliation, and composition. How does a native speaker decode that instantly?
It is entirely about the object and the surrounding grammar.
The context.
The context is everything. If the object is a story or an excuse, it's invention. If the subject is 2 people who are fighting, it's reconciliation.
And if it's followed by a percentage or a list of members?
It's composition. The sentence structure gives you the context instantly, and it proves definitively that you can't learn the 2 words separately. You have to learn the contextual unit.
That level of linguistic economy is just astonishing. Let's look at one more dramatic example of dual meaning. This one contrasts destruction with inflation.
Blow up.
Blow up.
This offers a similar contrast in scale, meaning one is the dramatic, sometimes violent one, to explode.
So this could be literal bombs or figurative emotional outbursts.
Right. The demolition crew will blow up the old building tomorrow. Or, on the other hand, he completely blew up at his colleague during the meeting.
But then the second meaning is so quiet and simple. It's just filling something with air.
Correct. Meaning 2 is simply to inflate. Before the party starts, we need to blow up all these balloons.
The difference between destroying a building and inflating a balloon is monumental, yet the phrasal verb is the same.
And the context building versus balloons is the absolute arbiter of meaning. There's no confusion in a real sentence.
This section really underscores that to move toward natural English, you have to embrace these ambiguities and just trust the context provided by the surrounding words.
You do.
Now let's turn our attention to how we process information and build relationships. This part focuses on cognitive tasks, understanding and reviewing information. And we're starting with the concept of deduction and problem solving. Figure out.
Figure out is one of the most useful problem-solving verbs in English. It means to understand, discover, or solve something. and it often implies a process of real mental effort.
It's the verb of competence, really. I spent all morning trying to figure out why my internet wasn't working.
Exactly. It suggests the solution wasn't immediately obvious. There was a puzzle to solve. We use it for technical issues, for math problems, even for human behavior.
I can't figure them out.
Yes, it implies complexity. You use it when you're working through a non-trivial problem. It is super useful because it describes that entire mental struggle toward comprehension.
So once we start to understand things, we often need to review information, sometimes quickly, sometimes with intense detail. We have two verbs that handle different review speeds.
Right. And the contrast is highly practical. Look through and go over.
Okay, which one is the fast one?
Look through is the fast version. It means reading quickly, maybe just skimming to get a general idea or find one specific item.
I'll look through these emails to see if I can find the one for marketing.
Perfect. The action is rapid and not comprehensive.
Go over, on the other hand, sounds like it demands a lot more mental energy and scrutiny.
Precisely. Go over is the opposite of a quick scan. It means reviewing or explaining something in detail, often to check for accuracy or to make sure someone understands.
So, before the test, we need to go over Chapter 3 one more time.
Exactly. This is for studying, for editing, for clarifying complex concepts.
So if a colleague sent me a 50-page report, I might look through it to check the formatting, but I would go over the final recommendations line by line.
That is the perfect distinction. It defines the required depth of your engagement.
And as we're processing all this information, we often need to capture little details. That's where jot down comes in.
Yes. To jot down means to write something quickly, often informally, just to make a note or capture an idea before it's forgotten.
It suggests speed and informality.
It does. I heard a good book recommendation, so I quickly jotted it down on a napkin. It's a very handy, spontaneous action.
Okay, let's move from processing information to processing people's social integration and relationships. We'll start with a positive affirmation of a good connection.
Get along with.
To get along with someone means to have a good, harmonious relationship. It implies compatibility and easy interaction.
Right. I'm really lucky I get along with all of my coworkers. It's a necessary phrase for expressing social peace.
But relationships have to be built. They don't just start out harmonious. That process of discovery is described by...
Get to know.
Right.
Get to know means becoming familiar with someone through repeated interaction. It defines that initial exploratory stage of building a relationship.
It was a great conference. I got to know several people from the London office.
Yes, it's essential for forming any new connection, and it emphasizes the time and effort required.
And if you see a group already interacting, how do you extend that invitation for someone else to participate?
You encourage them to join in.
Join in.
It means to participate with others in a group or activity that's already happening. The kids were playing a game, so we invited the new neighbor to join in. It's a very inclusive, welcoming phrase.
Next, we're covering logistics and personal trial testing things out. We have two verbs that differentiate between general experimentation and specific bodily fit. First, the general one.
Try out.
To try out means to test something new to see if you like it, if it's suitable, or if it works.
It's all about experimenting with products, services, or ideas. I'm going to try out that new recipe for dinner tonight.
And the very specific testing that happens when you're shopping for clothes.
That is try-on. This is used exclusively for clothing, jewelry, or shoes when you're checking the size or the fit.
Excuse me, is there a place where I can try on this sweater?
Exactly. It's indispensable when you're shopping. And it is a separable verb. You can try the sweater on or try it on.
Speaking of clothing, let's quickly reiterate those two essential opposites we use every single day, and we can remind everyone of that separability rule.
Put on and take off. Put on, to wear, and take off, to remove, are probably the most common phrasal verbs for our physical routine.
And they are both separable.
Both are. You can put your coat on and take your coat off. And remember the pronoun rule.
You must say, put it on and take it off.
No exceptions.
Finally, we have to deal with the necessary evil of paperwork, completing forms. We have two options that work equally well.
We do. Fill out or fill in.
And they mean the same thing.
Yes, both mean to complete a form or document with required information. Please fill out this application form, or you need to fill in your address here.
They're just incredibly practical for official documents and general logistics, and both are separable.
Both are.
What's important here in this learning section is that these phrasal verbs add a layer of real specificity. We go over instructions, we look through reports, we get to know people.
It elevates your communication far beyond just simple one-word definitions. It lets you communicate with the efficiency and detail that's required in professional and social life.
In our final major section, we're going to focus on managing plans, dealing with problems, and remembering the past. Life is constantly changing, so we need verbs to manage expectations and cancellations.
And to cancel an event, a meeting, or a plan, we use call off.
This is a really frequent phrase in planning, right?
Extremely. In both business and social planning, it implies a decision to just abandon the event entirely. The picnic was called off because of the rain.
And it's a separable verb, so you can call the meeting off or call it off.
Correct.
And what about the less graceful, often frustrating action of canceling a commitment at the very last minute?
That is to back out.
To back out.
This means to withdraw from an agreement or a commitment, often unexpectedly, and it usually has some negative implication for the other people involved.
We had a deal, but he backed out at the last minute.
Yes, and that can be very annoying sometimes. It implies a reversal of a promise.
Now for a more tricky one, related to unintended outcomes. Let out. This one often deals with secrets.
It does. Let out means to accidentally reveal a secret or release guarded information, and it's tricky because the action is usually unintentional.
So she accidentally let out the secret about the surprise party.
Exactly. The information escaped when it wasn't supposed to.
Okay, shifting gears to how we manage difficulties in our lives. We have the phrase for general problem handling, the verb of accountability.
Deal with.
So fundamental.
It means to manage, handle, or confront a situation or a problem. The customer service team is responsible for dealing with complaints.
We all deal with things every day. It's universally applicable.
It is.
And when those situations involve health or recovery from hardship, whether it's physical or emotional, we use
Get over.
get over.
This is focused on recovery and moving beyond something negative. It applies to recovering from an illness. It took him 3 weeks to get over that bad flu.
And crucially, it also applies to emotional recovery.
Yes. From a difficult experience, like a breakup or a loss, it signifies the process of regaining your normal state or just coming to an acceptance of what happened.
And finally, to conclude our journey, we're returning to reflection with the nostalgic action of remembering the past.
Think back.
Think back.
It means to remember or reflect on something from the past. When I see old photos, I always think back to my childhood. It's a reflective, often personal action that lets us mentally revisit history.
Okay, now, before we wrap up, we absolutely must revisit the concept that tied this entire deep dive together.
The power of context.
And separability. Let's revisit the deceptively simple phrasal verb pick up.
This is the definitive final takeaway. Pick up perfectly encapsulates the core lesson. Phrasal verbs are contextual units, and their grammar can even change depending on the meaning.
Okay, so in meaning one, pick up is completely physical, it's logistical, and it often involves separability.
Yes. Meaning one is to collect someone or something, usually by car or by lifting it with your hands.
Can you pick me up from the station at 5?
Exactly. This is a separable verb. You pick the groceries up or you pick them up.
But meaning two is abstract, it's cognitive, it's related to learning.
Right. Meaning two is to learn a new skill or some language, easily and informally, often without direct instruction. I picked up some Spanish words while I was on holiday in Mexico.
And this meaning is?
This meaning is inseparable from the object it describes. You pick up a skill. You cannot pick a skill up.
That is the ultimate aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
The physical meaning is separable, but the cognitive learning meaning is inseparable.
Context is key. You must identify the surrounding words. Is it a person or luggage versus a skill or a language to determine both the definition and the grammatical rules you have to follow.
Mastering that contextual grammar is what separates an advanced learner from someone who just knows a list of definitions.
Absolutely.
And with that deep structural look at more than 40 essential phrasal verbs and their grammatical behaviors, we could officially wrap up our analysis.
A fitting phrasal verb to use.
To wrap up, of course, means to finish or complete something. And it perfectly signals the end of our comprehensive discussion today. These examples have shown that phrasal verbs are truly everywhere.
They are.
They demand your attention, but they offer immense rewards in terms of fluency.
Absolutely. And the main message we want you to take away is to actively use them, starting now. Don't be intimidated by the number of possibilities. The goal is fluency, and fluency comes from trying.
From implementation.
Yes. Start small. Start with the core 4 we discussed right at the beginning.
Wake up, get up.
Turn on, turn off. Use those 4 today. And pay special attention to that separability rule for turn on and turn off when you use pronouns.
That's excellent advice. Start small and build up your vocabulary and your confidence over time. Now that you have this advanced knowledge, what should your actionable practice plan look like?
Okay, first, practice makes perfect. Actively look for phrasal verbs in real-world contexts. Listen to English media songs, movies, audiobooks, and really try to identify them when they're spoken.
And maybe pause and think about if they're separable or not.
Exactly. And second, write them down. But don't just write the definition, write the full sentence you heard, or even better, create an original sentence that's relevant to your own life. That's what makes the memory stick.
We would genuinely love to hear from you. Interaction really helps solidify this advanced knowledge. Leave a comment or send us a message.
Please do.
Tell us which phrasal verb's dual meaning surprised you the most today, or what new structural rule about separability you plan to implement immediately.
Indeed it does. And we encourage you to reflect on what we've covered, especially that final section.
The provocative thought.
Yeah. If adding a single preposition or adverb like up or off can radically change a verb's definition and even change its grammatical rules, separable versus inseparable, like with pickup.
Right.
What specific grammatical function is that little particle performing in these cases that makes it so much more powerful than just a simple adjective or a modifier?
That is a deep structural question for you to mull over as you start using these essential verbs in your conversations this week. Keep practicing, keep listening, and keep building your English mastery.
We affirm our continued support for your learning journey. We'll be back soon with more insights to help you unlock the subtleties of natural English.
See you next time, everyone.
Bye for now.